I stand motionless at the edge of Luna's engagement party, watching the evening play out as if through someone else's eyes. The Napa Valley vineyard glows under the late afternoon sun, golden light touching faces I've known my entire life. Crystal glasses of champagne catch the glow, turning ordinary gestures into moments that appear almost magical, if you don't look too closely. Daniel's hand finds mine, giving a steady squeeze just as my father taps a silver spoon against his glass. The sharp chime silences the room at once. Daniel shifts beside me, his shoulder brushing mine, a quiet reminder of support. He understands what these gatherings cost me: time, energy, and emotional weight. My father begins, his voice carrying the same authority that fills boardrooms and family dinners alike. Eleanor and I couldn't be prouder to celebrate Luna's engagement to James. Luna beams beside James, her eyes lit with that hopeful anticipation she still carries at 29, something I lost years ago. The guests lean forward slightly, a mix of business partners and family friends eager to witness the moment. My mother stands near my father, her diamond earrings catching the light each time she turns her head to smile at Luna. "But we have another announcement," my father continues, his voice warm with pride. "As a wedding gift, Eleanor and I are giving Luna 15% ownership in White Family Trucking." The air leaves my lungs in silence. Daniel's grip tightens around my hand. Mother steps closer, placing her manicured hand on father's arm. "The paperwork was finalized last week," she adds sweetly. "That 15% is valued at $1.2 million. Applause fills the room. I watch business associates nod in approval, family friends exchanging admiring looks. My smile feels fixed in place, though the edges blur. $1.2 million. For Luna, who has never worked a single day in the family business. "Stay calm," Daniel whispers, lips barely moving. "I'm here." When the clapping fades, I find myself stepping forward, moving as if on autopilot. Luna hugs me tightly, her perfume overwhelming. "Can you believe it?" she whispers with genuine excitement. "I never expected anything like this." "Congratulations," I reply, my tone polished enough to hide the sting. I've mastered sounding sincere while swallowing disappointment. My parents soak up praise from their guests, my father's hand resting firmly on James's shoulder, not just welcoming him as a son-in-law, but as a future business partner. The meaning is clear, a sharp memory intrudes. My own wedding 7 years ago, unwrapping the kitchen appliance my parents had given. "You'll need this for work," Mother had said, as if a coffee maker were an appropriate gift for their firstborn daughter. No business shares. No inheritance, just something practical, because I was expected to make my own way. Daniel guides me toward a quieter corner, concern etched on his face. "You okay?" he asks softly. I feel my practiced smile falter. "Not here," I whisper. "Not now." The night drags on painfully. James raises his glass in a toast, his voice strong. "To joining such a family," he says with real gratitude. Guests murmur approvingly. "Substantial gift." I hear from one side. "Smart move," says another. "Luna's always been their pride," whispers an older woman. Unaware I'm within earshot. Across the room, Sarah catches my eye. Her worried glance says everything. She's seen my parents' favoritism all her life. Her raised brow asks the silent question. "Are you all right?" I nod faintly, unwilling to trust my voice. Daniel returns with water, standing close enough that our arms brush. His presence steadies me as I make small talk with family friends who haven't even asked about my recent promotion or the patent I filed that could reshape cybersecurity and banking. Something shifts inside me as I watch Luna accept congratulations, my parents glowing under their peers' approval. A lifetime of memories sharpens into one truth. This isn't like the smaller hurts I've endured. This is too public, too defining to ignore. As the party winds down, my phone buzzes with a notification. Luna has updated her social media. Officially a millionaire. Blessed. Family business. Daniel studies my reaction as I stare at the screen, his eyes calm but knowing. The last guests drift out into the cool night air. Distant thunder rolls as if echoing the weight of my thoughts. "This ends tonight," I whisper, and for the first time in years, I mean it. Have you ever witnessed favoritism so sharp it left you speechless? Share your experience in the comments. Hours later, the once celebratory ballroom feels empty, marked by what remains. Crystal glasses sit abandoned on tables, lipstick stains still fresh. Wrapping paper lies scattered like forgotten confetti. Only our family lingers, the 5 of us enclosed in this rented vineyard. Luna stands near the windows, holding up the framed share certificate to catch the fading light. The gold embossing shines as her finger traces her name. James, her fiancé, scrolls on his phone, likely calculating what her new wealth means for their future. I sit upright on a carved wooden chair, back tense. Daniel rests a steady hand on my shoulder, his thumb moving in small circles, grounding me in the moment. Father loosens his tie with satisfaction. "Wonderful evening," he says casually. "Couldn't have gone better." The words cut deeper than intended. "Why don't I receive the same?" I ask, calm but firm. Mother pauses mid-sip, surprised. "What? The shares. Why doesn't your firstborn daughter get 15% too?" My voice is steady, though my pulse races. Mother sets her glass down deliberately. "Natalia, don't be absurd. You have a successful career. You don't need shares." "It isn't about need," I reply, folding my hands to keep them still. "It's about fairness." Father's face hardens. "The transfer is complete, legal, finalized. Don't create conflict, be happy for your sister." Luna shifts uneasily. James avoids my gaze. The certificate suddenly feels heavier in her hands. "I gave up my college fund so Luna could attend Westridge Academy," I remind them. I see my 18-year-old self again, sitting at the kitchen table as Father explained they couldn't support us. Both. I moved into the smallest room so Luna could have space for her art. I worked 3 jobs in college while she received full financial support. That was different. Mother interrupts, voice sharp. Luna needed more help. "You were always independent, always capable." "Being capable shouldn't mean being overlooked," I answer. Father steps closer, voice low. "We made choices we believed were right. This conversation is inappropriate and ungrateful." Ungrateful? The word stings. For 33 years, I've swallowed every slight, accepted every excuse, watched resources flow toward Luna while I built my own path. Daniel's hand presses slightly firmer against my shoulder. "If this is final," he says quietly, "at least acknowledge Natalia's feelings. Respect costs nothing." Mother's eyes fill with tears. "We've always treated you both equally. How can you suggest otherwise?" "Equally?" I let out a hollow laugh. "Name one time Luna wasn't favored." "Enough," Father warns. "Drop this or leave." A sudden clarity settles over me. After 33 years, I finally see it for what it is. I unclasp the silver bracelet, grandmother's gift when I turned 16, and set it gently on the table. I won't be the afterthought anymore. Daniel rises with me, steady and supportive. We turn toward the door. "Natalia, please, you're overreacting," Luna blurts, her face flushed, eyes wide with confusion. She doesn't see it. None of them do. Mother covers her mouth. Father stands frozen, words caught in his throat. For the first time, I've left him speechless. "Family should lift each other equally," I say softly. "When was the last time you celebrated my accomplishments? Did you know I'm up for a cybersecurity patent? That I was promoted last month? That Daniel and I may start our own company?" Their silence is answer enough. I take Daniel's hand. "Congratulations, Luna, on your engagement and your inheritance." Outside, the night air greets us, cool and clear. Thunder rumbles as we walk to our car. Neither of us speaks until we're seated inside. "Are you okay?" Daniel asks gently, waiting before starting the engine. I glance back at the glowing windows of the estate. shadows of my family still visible inside. Grief and relief mix within me. No, I admit honestly. But someday I think I will be. Raindrops begin to fall as we drive away, leaving behind 33 years of silence. An hour later, in our apartment, rain taps steadily against the living room windows, echoing the storm inside me. Daniel moves quietly in the kitchen, the kettle's whistle cutting through the silence as he prepares chamomile tea. Usually the warmth of our small craftsman home brings comfort, but tonight the difference between our modest space and Luna's luxury weighs heavily on me. "Here you go," Daniel says, placing a steaming mug beside me. His fingers brush mine, a wordless gesture of support. I nod, unable to speak, my eyes fixed on the photo albums scattered across the coffee table. These leather-bound volumes hold a lifetime of small wounds, physical proof I've never reviewed all together before. My hands shake as I open the first album. "You don't have to do this tonight," Daniel says, sitting down beside me. "I do," I reply, my voice sounding strange even to me. "I need to see it all at once." The first photo shows Christmas morning when I was 8 and Luna was 4. My smile looks forced as I hold up practical winter clothes, while Luna sits among piles of wrapping paper with an elaborate Victorian dollhouse that must have cost a fortune. The dollhouse is still in their attic, preserved like a relic. "Look at your eyes," Daniel says, pointing at the picture. "Even then you were pretending to be okay." I turn the page to my high school graduation. There I stand in my cap and gown, holding the luggage my parents gave me for college. On the next page, Luna poses beside the brand new Volkswagen they bought her for graduation 3 years later. "They said the luggage was practical," I explain, the memory sharp after all these years. "They told me a car was too expensive." Daniel's jaw tightens. "But they managed it for Luna." My finger traces another photo. Luna on her first day of college, our parents proudly at her side. They fully funded her private university, while I worked 3 jobs and still took loans at state school. "Jesus, Natalia," Daniel whispers, emotion catching in his voice. I knew it wasn't equal, but seeing it laid out like this, the pattern is unmistakable. Luna's dance recitals filled with family, while my academic competitions had empty seats. My fellowship in software engineering barely mentioned, while Luna's short internship at a fashion magazine earned a dinner celebration. "What about this one?" Daniel points at a picture I had overlooked. It shows a family dinner. Everyone turned toward Luna, laughing at something she said. I sit off to the side, a trophy barely visible on the table. "That was the night I won the Young Innovators Award," I say, throat tightening. "Dad promised we'd celebrate later. We never did." The phone suddenly rings, making us both jump. Sarah's name flashes on the screen. "I've been trying to reach you," she says when I answer. "I've seen this happening for 20 years, Nat. I'm with you." Tears blur my vision. "Thanks, Sarah." "They never deserved you," she adds firmly. "Remember when your coding project won that national competition and your parents skipped the ceremony because Luna had a cold?" Daniel raises his eyebrows as I nod, another memory falling into place. After the call ends, the doorbell rings. Daniel checks the peephole, then looks back at me in surprise before opening the door. Professor Williams, my undergraduate mentor, stands outside in the rain, soaked but determined. "I heard what happened," he says, removing his wet coat. His silver hair sticks to his forehead, but his eyes are steady. "Your parents never saw your talent, Natalia, but others always did." "You drove an hour in this weather?" I ask, stunned. "Some things can't wait," he replies, taking a seat and refusing tea. "When the family business needed modernization 5 years ago, who built the security system? You did. Who fixed their logistics when they expanded? You again." My phone buzzes nonstop with messages. Friends, colleagues, people expressing outrage and support. Daniel scrolls through them, his eyes widening. "Look at this," he says, showing me the screen. "You've built more than you realize. So many people see your worth." For the first time since that night, I feel something shift inside me. I hadn't realized how much I needed this. confirmation that I wasn't imagining things, that others saw the same pattern I did. Your career speaks for itself, Professor Williams adds. Your patent application could change the way banks protect data. He pauses. Meanwhile, Luna has started and left 4 different careers I finish for him, all funded by my parents. They gave her fish, but they taught you how to fish, Daniel says softly, his words striking me with their truth. The irony of Luna receiving business shares despite no experience suddenly feels almost laughable. I built my success through sacrifice while Luna was handed everything. The phone rings again, my mother's name on the screen. I send it to voicemail, but soon a message arrives. Want me to play it? Daniel asks. I nod. His face tightens as he listens. We've always loved you both the same. He mimics her voice after hanging up. That's exactly what someone would say if it wasn't true. A new email arrives from my father. The subject line reads Family Matters in all caps. Inside is a stern message demanding I stop making private issues public and insisting we put this nonsense to rest. He still believes he can control the story, I say, showing Daniel the screen. He's been doing that your whole life, Daniel replies, placing an arm around my shoulders. They all have. A text from Luna comes next. You're ruining my engagement celebration. How could you be so selfish? The words hurt, but less than before. The albums spread before me serve as undeniable proof of what I've lived through, evidence no one can dismiss as imagination or sensitivity. Professor Williams stands to leave, giving my shoulder a gentle pat. Remember, Natalia, family is who treats you like family. Your parents may share your DNA, but these people, he gestures to my phone full of supportive messages. Daniel, your friends, this is your real family. After he leaves, headlights sweep across the windows. Daniel looks outside and frowns. Your parents are here, he says firmly. Do you want me to send them away? I pause, then nod. I need space. Through the rain-streaked glass, I watch Daniel step onto the porch, closing the door behind him. His stance is protective as he speaks to my parents standing in the downpour. My mother tries to move past him, but he doesn't yield. Eventually, they retreat to their luxury car, their disappointment visible even through the rain. When Daniel comes back inside, his shirt damp, a new sense of strength rises in me. For the first time, I've kept a boundary with my family, and the world hasn't collapsed. How do you know when family patterns are too ingrained to change? I ask Daniel, closing the photo albums one by one. He thinks for a moment. When showing them the pattern repeatedly makes no difference. When they refuse to see what's right in front of them, I nod. I think I've been showing them my whole life. Daniel holds me close as the rain taps steadily against the windows. The storm outside continues, but inside, I feel the first light of clarity breaking through decades of clouds. A month after Luna's engagement party, my office feels like a sanctuary. The steady hum of computers and fluorescent lights shields me from family noise. I focus on solving a complex coding issue, fully absorbed until a notification interrupts me. Congratulations, Natalia White, reads the subject line, from our CEO, Senior Director of Cybersecurity Initiative, the promotion I've worked toward for 3 years. Recognition based on merit, not blood or favoritism. The validation comes in waves. My phone buzzes. Daniel, did you see the email? His voice radiates pride. Just now, I answer, steady despite the emotion swelling inside. Your boss called me this morning, he says. I've been planning a celebration dinner all day. Don't stay late. I smile, imagining him in the kitchen, sleeves rolled up, preparing my favorite meal. In 8 years together, he has never missed a chance to celebrate my wins, especially the ones my family ignored. As if on cue, my phone lights up again. My mother's name flashes across the screen for the 3rd time this week. I silence it, adding her to the growing list of family members I'm not ready to engage with. The Thompson cousins called yesterday, Daniel says, noticing my sigh. And Aunt Judith left another voicemail about healing the rift. Let them call, I reply, surprised by the calm in my tone. I'm focused on what matters now. For the first time in 33 years, I feel free of the White family's shadow. When I arrive home, the scent of rosemary and garlic greets me. Daniel has set the dining table with candles and fine china, champagne chilling nearby. To the new senior director, he toasts, eyes shining with pride and a hint of concern, and to boundaries long overdue. We clink glasses just as my phone buzzes with a new notification. Sarah has forwarded Luna's social media post. Extravagant wedding flowers captioned, "When your parents spare no expense for their daughter's special day." Mother has shared photos of Luna visiting wedding venues, her captions framing it as continuing the family legacy, a thinly veiled tactic to pull me back into compliance. "Your father showed up at your office yesterday," Daniel says carefully. "Security called me." I set down my fork. "He what?" "He couldn't get past the lobby. I've spoken with security at both your office and home. They understand the situation." Anger rises at the intrusion and the audacity. "Let me guess? He wanted to reason with me about Luna's wedding?" Daniel nods. "Apparently, Aunt Judith is telling people you're having a breakdown. That the pressure of your job has made you unstable." I laugh, sharp and unfamiliar. "Of course. Because setting boundaries couldn't possibly be a rational decision." After dinner, I draft an email to the extended family. The words flow easily. "I appreciate your concern for family unity. However, the pattern of favoritism I've experienced isn't new or minor. I'm taking space to reassess relationships that demanded my patience while offering little in return. I am well and focused on my career and marriage. Please respect my choice to engage on my terms, in my time." Daniel reads over my shoulder. Perfect. Clear, calm, and final. The next morning, I meet Dr. Rivera, the family therapist Daniel found last week. "I need to process this properly," I explain. "Not just react. That's very self-aware," she says. "Most people in your place would simply cut ties." "I've spent my life building things," I tell her, "even if these relationships require complete rebuilding. I want to approach it with strategy." That weekend, we hosted a small dinner with close friends, Sarah, my mentor Professor Williams, and colleagues who've become trusted companions. We laughed, shared stories, and created new traditions untouched by past wounds. When Luna's name kept flashing on my phone the following Tuesday morning, I almost ignored it. But as she kept calling, I sensed something was wrong. "Dad says the business might be in trouble," she blurted before I could speak. "There are cash flow issues, contracts lost, and he's looking for investors." The irony was striking. That same morning, I received confirmation that my patent had been approved, along with a substantial bonus while the family business was faltering. "I'm sorry to hear that," I replied carefully. "That's it? You're sorry?" Luna's voice cracked. "Mom and Dad are fighting over my wedding expenses. James is asking questions about joining a business that's unstable, and all you can say is, 'You're sorry?'" I took a slow breath. "What exactly are you asking of me, Luna?" Her silence said enough. In the background, I could hear our mother's raised voice in another argument. "I have to go," Luna said finally. "James thinks this is all too much. The tension, the family drama." After the call, I sat quietly in my home office, staring at the framed certificate of my earlier patent Daniel had gifted me. Beside it was the notification of my newly approved patent and the investment portfolio we'd built through steady, strategic choices, independent of family ties. The realization settled over me like morning light. My independence had become my greatest strength, financially and emotionally. While my family's facade was fracturing, I was building something sustainable. Daniel found me smiling as I reviewed investment options for my bonus. "Good news?" he asked. "The best kind," I replied. "I'm finally seeing clearly." 2 weeks later, on a Tuesday, a cream envelope arrived. It slipped between bills and advertisements like ordinary mail. But I knew what it was before I even touched the embossed edges. "Luna's wedding invitation, Daniel." watched from the kitchen doorway as I stood still at the mail table. "You don't have to open it." "Now," he said gently. I opened it anyway. The heavy cardstock announced Luna and James's wedding date, 6 weeks away at the Fairmont Hotel. A handwritten note fell out. "I need my sister there. Please come. Love, Luna." My throat tightened. It had been weeks since I left the engagement party, 3 months of slowly rebuilding my sense of self beyond the family story. "What does it say?" Daniel asked, joining me. I handed him the card. "She wants her sister there, but only as her usual target." That evening, Mother's number appeared on my phone as we finished dinner. Daniel raised an eyebrow, and I answered on the third ring. "Luna is devastated you might not come," Mother said without greeting. "This is her special day, Natalia." "Hello to you too, Mom. Don't be difficult. This isn't about your issues with us. It's about supporting your sister." I pressed my fork against the plate, bending the tines slightly. "My issues? You mean the years of favoritism, ending with $1 million gift?" "That's business, not family," she said sharply. "The wedding is family." After I hung up, Daniel poured me more wine. "You okay?" "Just peachy," I said, though my hand trembled as I lifted the glass. The next morning brought a text from an unknown number, my father's new phone. "Lunch tomorrow? Need to clear the air before the wedding. Capitol Grill at 1. "We told everyone you were dealing with work stress," Mother admits, "that you'd been under pressure. People understand burnout. How convenient." I sip water, letting silence stretch. "You turned my absence into a story that required no accountability from you." Father's face hardens. "You have obligations to this family. Your grandmother would be ashamed." I laugh, surprising even myself. "Grandmother left me a letter, and funds meant for me alone." I place the letter on the table. "She recognized the pattern while she was alive." Mother pales. "What letter? What funds?" "The inheritance you never mentioned." "I discovered it after her death." Father slams the table, rattling glasses. "You and your so-called business. Playing entrepreneur instead of joining a respectable firm. This is just attention-seeking, like when you were a child." "Robert," Mother hisses, glancing around. "People are staring." "Success has changed you," she insists. "You used to know family comes first." Eliza's mascara smudges as tears well. "You always make everything about you." "Even my moments became about your feelings. Their tactics once wounded me. Now I recognize them for what they are. Manipulation, not love." "You're right about one thing," I reply calmly. "Success has changed me. It taught me I deserve to sit at tables where I am valued, not tolerated." I slide my business card onto the glass table. The embossed letters shine. Veronica White, CEO, White Innovations. My company just closed a $75 million acquisition. The news broke last night, while you were celebrating. Their shock might be comical if it weren't so sad. If you want a relationship moving forward, it will be on new terms. Equal respect. No more exclusion. No more Veronica in the shadows while Eliza takes center stage. Father recovers first. "Now listen." "No," I interrupt, standing. "You've had 32 years to speak." "I've had my say today. I gather my things." Melissa rises with me. "I'd like a relationship with all of you," I add, voice softening, "but I no longer need one." "There's a difference." Mother's hand trembles around her glass. Father's jaw tightens. Eliza looks lost, perhaps realizing for the first time how the family system truly worked, and how it's collapsing now. "Congratulations on your anniversary," I say, shoulders straight. "I wish you happiness." I walk away without looking back. Each step feels lighter. Their silence trails me to the elevator, but this time it doesn't define me. The doors close on their stunned faces, and I release 32 years of waiting to matter. In the reflection of the polished doors, I see something new. Peace. 6 months later, I stand in my penthouse kitchen, watching spring's sunset paint Hartford's skyline gold. 6 months since I walked away from that dinner. 6 months of rebuilding on my terms. The antique mahogany table gleams in my dining room, set with grandmother's Wedgwood china, delicate blue flowers against cream porcelain. I run my finger along the edge, remembering generations of white women who once gathered around it, the same table where I was once pushed to the far end, if I was invited at all. Last month, when my father chose to downsize their formal dining room, I outbid everyone at the estate auction. The table came home with me, not as a gesture of peace, but as a reclamation. The doorbell rings. James is the first to arrive, carrying a bottle of Barolo in one hand and a portfolio in the other. Latest projections for the mentorship program, he says, kissing my cheek. 28 applicants already. Women entrepreneurs need more than funding, I reply. They need someone who truly sees their potential. Sarah follows with her husband. Then my executive team, 2 professors who sit on my foundation board, and my attorney Margot, who drafted the Family Therapy Center donation in my grandmother's name. While they mingle, I slip into my office, where my grandmother's letter hangs framed beside the window. Remember, Veronica. We choose which chairs matter. Her words guided me through my recent TED Talk on finding worth beyond family validation. The video already has 300,000 views. My phone buzzes. Eliza, they're still talking about you missing Easter dinner. Dad keeps calling it another stunt. Our fragile reconnection happens quietly, through texts and the occasional coffee. Without our parents' presence, she's beginning to find her voice, asking about community college, taking small steps toward her own identity. A knock at my office door. Package just came for you, James says, handing me a bubble mailer. Inside is a faded photograph. Eliza and me at ages 6 and 9, arms linked, laughing on a tire swing. On the back, in her handwriting, we were happy before they taught us not to be. I slip the photo into my pocket and return to my guests. They've gathered around the table, glasses raised, conversation flowing, without tension, without performance. No one watching the clock or competing for attention. I take my seat at the head of the table. Not a place earned through birthright or manipulation, but one freely offered by those who value me. To Veronica, James says, raising his glass, whose White Family Foundation just awarded its first scholarship to that brilliant girl from Bridgeport. To second chances, Sarah adds. I stand, the weight of my grandmother's brooch pinned above my heart. To chairs that matter, I say, and the people who fill them. Later, as my guests depart, I linger at the empty table. Tomorrow I'll host again, place cards already written for each person who chose me, not out of duty, but out of genuine connection. At the far end remains one empty chair. Not exile this time, but a reminder of what I left behind and what I've found instead. I run my hand across the polished wood of my grandmother's table, now mine, now filled with laughter instead of judgment, with interest instead of performance. The chair that matters most is the one where you are truly seen. And at last I am.